Okay, this video is by request of one of my viewers looking for instructions on how to model up one of these ropes. And I don't know exactly how he needs to model it. I'm assuming it's going over a pulley or a bar or something like that. It's not just a straight section, although you could use this method to make a straight section as well. Um, so since I'm assuming it's going over a pulley, I'm going to start by just kind of making a pulley for it to go over. And just pick any old plane and draw something that kind of looks like a pulley and put some constraints on it. Horizontal, vertical, vertical, and 400 square millimeters, so somewhere around 10 millimeters across. Let's see. Oh, diameter of braid up to 35 millimeters. Okay. Uh, so just since there's so many different sizes available, uh, I'll just say this is a, I don't know, 22 millimeters ish. So 22 millimeter diameter. I'll just assume that. So then the radius is going to be 11. And we can make that for construction. And then this is going to also be 11. And make this 4. Doesn't really matter all that much. And 50. And I'll select that and do a revolve boss. And then I will realize that that pulley has no hole in it. So make a 20 millimeter hole in it. And good enough. And then I'm going to make an assembly. And in it I'm going to have this pulley and this pulley. That's fine. And I'll just get that out of the way. Mate those. Okay. And I'll just fix this here. Obviously, these would be placed because of something else, but those will work. Alright, so I'm going to just quick save this assembly. It doesn't really matter what I call it. And under Insert Components, I want New Part. I can just click anywhere. And I'm going to float the part. And then I'm going to connect the origin to the origin with a mate. So that's set. And then I'm going to select this part and click Edit Component. So now I'm editing this component. Everything else, I can still see it, but it's kind of like it's made out of glass. So that works for me. And now I need to kind of figure out the path that this rope is going to go through. And most convenient way I think for that is select these two faces, and I'm going to make a plane. So that's right in the center. And make a sketch on that plane. And in this case, I know that that line is right in the center of because that's the way I drew it, but you could measure or figure it out another way. That is just what's most convenient. And since these are in line, convert those. And let's say, I don't know, the rope is maybe going from here to there. And it's going up. Oh, nope. It's going up here. And it's going down there. So the rope goes up over this pulley, goes up under this pulley, and then goes off somewhere. I'm gonna, excuse me, click this part and just click open it now. That way everything else is out of my way. I just have that sketch. But oh, I don't like the way that looks, do I? Right? I want it. I'm looking at it this way. I want to keep looking at it this way. So what I can do is I can right click and click open part in position. And then I'm looking at it the same way. So let's go back into the sketch. No, I'll hide this plane too. So I'm going to go tangent, 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 and tangent. And I would have wanted to figure out where these are going before, but we'll just fix them since this is just an example type deal. And I've got circles because they're just converted, but I want these to be arcs. So I can just trim the closest. So now I've got a nice little path that my rope can follow. And let's see, I've already forgotten what the diameter, so it's a 22 millimeter diameter. All right. Nope. So at the end of this, I can take a plane, and I can click the end point of this line and the line itself, and it'll create a plane right at the end of the line perpendicular to it. And I can draw this circle that is going to be 22 millimeters diameter. And I thought I turned that off. I'll have to go back and change something. But yeah, it automatically resized, and I thought I had turned that off. All right, so I've got a 22 millimeter diameter circle, and I've got a path. So I can take and go to swept boss / base, and I can take, I've got this sketch, select this one as my path, and I've got that. So that's a very simplified version of this rope, but we want to make this look right. So let's delete this sweep feature, and let's see if we can actually draw this so that it looks right. So I'm going to normal to this sketch and edit the sketch again. And let's see here. So diameter of braid 22 to 45. So yeah, I'm honestly not sure how big these are. Let's see. Let's say it's 3 core by 7 core. So say 3 cores like that equal, and make a tangent and make that tangent as well, and copy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. And let's see if we draw a line there, a line there, a line there. Then we can draw in align, align, and align. And make these all equal. Make this horizontal. And make this coincident or merge. And I'm not 100% sure how this is all, how their actual chords are laid out. It's kind of hard to see the orientation since the end is basically flame cut, it looks like. We can get approximate-ish. Actually, I'm going to do the center, delete some of these copies. And let's say we select these three. And we'll do the same thing here, basically, except we'll be using it a little bit differently. So make these equal, and then I'm going to take this and say coincident with the center. And then I'm going to select these three, make a circular pattern of 6. And let's see, make these tangent. And make that coincident. And tangent. And equal. No, it didn't like that at all. Let's make them equal then. So, again, kind of hard to figure out exactly how this rope is set up. But, get approximate anyway. Oh, I think I see where I'm going wrong. Alright, so if I fix this point and rotate this around, then I can make it coincident like that. And I'll unfix the point. And I'll just select all this time for a circular pattern of 6. So 6 plus 1 in the middle. Lock this down. And shrink these down a little bit. Make those tangent. Come on. So let's make these equal. Then will it let me make a tangent? Okay. Can I make this tangent as well? Good deal. And I think that kind of looks like a cross section of rope, approximately. It's close enough for this anyway. Obviously, if you're making this and you need it to be absolutely perfect, you don't want to actually look at the rope. But I don't have one in hand, and I don't know what kind of braiding or what options are being selected, so I'm going to call this basic shape close enough. And I'm going to just select everything, say for construction. And actually, Control Z. I didn't mean to do that. Tangent. Let's make a new sketch on this plane so I don't mess it up again. So if I select these outer ones, and then these inner ones, and convert. And it'll be very unhappy if I try to do anything with it as it is right now. But we can deal with that real quick by using the trim command. And let me hide this last sketch. If I use my trim command, get rid of those, get rid of those. Let's go around, making these a little bit easier for the program to work with. All right, and just going to cheat just a little bit. And instead of having the centers, I'm just going to make these for construction. And then I'm going to trim. Actually, I can delete these. I don't need them. Make it coincident there. Let's click origin. Make it concentric. Of course not. Probably. I don't want to fix it though. All right. Let's see, roll back a couple steps. Maybe it won't freak out as much. So I want to delete these. And if I go like that, it's coincident with the line. That's why. All right. Origin. Concentric. No. Okay. All right. It's being fun. If I convert this, then can I use it, please? Okay. Then I can just do for construction on that. Now I can do my trimming. And again, how you draw this is up to you. Oh, except you definitely don't want to draw it that way. You want to cut out so that it makes a single piece. So now if I do this, I know that's all closed in. All right. So now, I have no physical geometry right now, so it's kind of getting a little bit confused. So if I do a swept boss right now, I get this, which is not the rope. It's kind of looks like a bundle of cables more than anything. So we don't want to do that, right? So what do we have to do from there? Let's go back in this sketch and let's see, show this so I can grab the circle and convert it and then hide that again. And I'm going to take this sketch plus this sketch to make a sweep. And then I need to figure out a way to twist, which could be interesting. Because at that point, I kind of need to do I think I'm going to need to do a 3D sketch. So let me hide this, get this out of the way. And I'm going to go into 3D sketch, I think. I don't think I've ever drawn up a rope, so this will be actually a little bit new to me. So let's say I select this plane and draw a line. And I want it to be along Y, along Z, X. Oh, it won't let me do any of those. Alright. I'll come back to the 3D sketch. I'm just going to do a 2D sketch first. And let's show this. And I'll convert just that, just so I've got something to reference. That way I can draw a line and make it collinear. And make that for construction. Alright. And then I've got that. I can put a plane there. Draw another sketch. And I'll just convert that. And let's see. If I make a 3D sketch now with a spline going from there to there, and let's draw a line out there, make this one normal to that plane, and drag it back to where I want it, and make those parallel and equal. Alright, so then if I make this tangent, it's going to sweep right through the middle there. Yeah, I'm not sure that's actually appropriate either. Sometimes you gotta experiment with this stuff. Let's see. If I see if I even have any options for twist built right into that command. I've never really looked. Oh, well that makes it easy. Evolution, say 5. Let's see if this crashes SolidWorks. Obviously, you'd want to measure the total length and figure out the rate of rotation to use this. Don't want to merge result. And let's see. Okay. And it might take a minute to process this because I think I just made something incredibly complex. Even if it is just a rope. So let's hide this. And admittedly, it looks like looks more like a twisted bunch of wires, but that's mainly down to the profile that I designed because I don't really know what this rope is supposed to be or what options are being used. But yeah, depending on how you draw this up, it'll control what it is. So yeah, you can just use the sweep command with the rotate built in, and looks like it does 5 total rotations over its length. So if you measured this out and you figured out it was, say, 5 meters long, and they said you've got 1.5 rotations per meter, you could just say 5 times 1.5. Okay, I need 7.5 rotations, I believe, just off the top of my head there. So let's hide this, hide this, hide this, hide this. Could undo that original sketch or that feature I just deleted, but I can just delete it since this is just an example. And then edit material. And didn't really look what kind of copper it is, so I don't know. Copper. And there we go. So if I go back to my assembly, yes, I want to update. So yeah, now I've got my copper rope going around my 2 pulleys. This part is it's a virtual part right now, so it only exists inside this assembly. Or inside an assembly that the assembly is inside of. What I can do is if I go back in here, you do file save as, and yep, it'll give me a little warning about what I'm doing. So then it's outside the assembly. Just go back to the assembly and save again so that it remembers that it's outside now. And then cool thing is, let's float this and go over here. And I'm going to do Control Q, which is the force update everything command. And yeah, it's going to have fun with this one because it's got to regenerate that whole thing again. And that'll probably take a while, but there we go. So it updated based on where the pulley was moved to. It did not update the number of twists based on the length, so you'd have to watch out for that part. Um, or maybe you decide, okay, this is how it's always going to be. I never want this rope to change. If I want it changed, I'll make a new rope, and we'll call it a new part number, whatever. What do you do then? Because you don't want it to ever be affected by this assembly again. What you can do is right click here, click external references, and you can either lock all and click OK, in which case, if you change your mind later, you go, wait, never mind, I do want it to be affected by that. Then you can wait for SolidWorks to work before you click some. Okay. So at that point, you could unlock selected. Other option is break selected, which is a little bit more solid. It won't even look for a reference anymore, and that's a permanent thing. But the big difference, the reason you might want to do that is if you wanted to make new references, but you had some old ones that were locked, a lot of times it's going to give you a problem with that or an error because of that. So then you can just go and break the references if you need to, or unlock them, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that's our copper rope. Again, obviously, you want to have a little bit better idea of what the end looks like and what pattern you are making. If you are modeling this, you probably know what pattern you're making, hopefully. And yeah, I hope you learned something. See you next time.